Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. Sorry to be late. Me and Dom were just catching up behind the scenes because we haven't talked in a while. Me and Dom have known each other. We've been in this YouTube game for a little while, but we only really catch up when we make these videos, which sounds kind of bad, but you know, it is what it is in this YouTube world. If you don't know about Dom, he is the go-to person for Napoli related things. So make sure you check out his channel. All the links are in the description down below. And yeah, welcome, Dom. How are you doing, brother?
Hey man, thank you for having me on the show. It's great to be back here. For those of you that remember, I was on the show a few months, maybe a year ago,
Yeah.
and excited, man. I mean, I'm in enemy territory right now. I'm living in Milan for a little bit, so I've been I've been around a lot of Inter fans in recent weeks, and they definitely seem confident this year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't blame us. It's looking good for us this season, but you know, not gonna get ahead of ourselves. These types of games, the one that we're gonna play on Sunday, 7:45 p.m. kickoff for me here in the UK. Napoli versus Inter. That's what we're here to preview, of course. And there's lots to talk about, Dom. Your team. I mean, we call Inter Pazza Inter, and you know, it's a crazy club, chaotic club to follow. But you guys really give us a run for our money with all the drama that's been going on with you guys since Spalletti left in the summer. But let me before we get into all of that, let me give a shout out to the people in the chat. Thank you for waiting patiently in the chat, 25 people. You guys know what to do. Run up those likes, get those thumbs ups in the chat going. And if you're new to the channel, if you're a Napoli Talk fan, subscribe to the channel because I do try to talk about general Serie A content as well when I can. So shout out to Mattia Debika in the house. Khalid, hope you're doing well. Mattia says, I don't see the question in the poll, just answers. Oh, I thought weird because in the poll I put, can Napoli get to top four? I guess that was a massive fail. But basically the question was supposed to be, can Napoli make the top four? Yes or no? We'll ask that to Dom directly. Eduardo says it's going to be a great game. Since it rotates so well, so much. We should be our best against Napoli. I hope so. And yeah, good to see you, Palm, Kuro Black, Bobby, Marley in the house. But let's get into it, Dom. And I've got a couple of slides prepared to talk about everything. Let's get the elephant in the room. Walter Cazzari, of course, Inter legend. What are you making of this? Of course, check out Dom's channel. He made a video on this when Mazzarri was hired. But yeah, tell us, bro, what's been going on and what do you make of everything?
Honestly, man, it's nice to have Mazzarri back. He's like that friend that he's just out there causing chaos, always loud at the back of the class. It's the type of guy you want to have around. And yeah, we needed a bit of Mazzarri back in Napoli because after the enthusiasm of the Scudetto with Garcia, we lost a bit of enthusiasm, and to have someone
Yeah.
like Mazzarri back, I think it's great for everyone. The players are good. They just need someone that makes them motivated, that makes them want to play for each other, that builds that locker room feeling again. And that's what Mazzarri is. He's the people's man.
Yeah. People's man. Well, it's funny, yeah, for us Inter fans, he's a bit of a meme character, but for Napoli fans, of course, for you guys, you know, you love him and cherish him, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was basically the first manager that gave us a trophy post Maradona. He introduced Napoli to the big European stage after, the dark period of the early 2000s by getting us into the Champions League. We had some fantastic games, beat City, played great against the likes of Bayern and all these guys, and he built a team that had Cavani, that had Lavezzi, that had Hamsik. I mean, when he had the raw material, he turned that material into some good goods, man. I mean, those players were some of the top players in Europe at the time. And I'm confident that with the material that he's got now, he can do something good as well. Too much has been
Mhm.
said about his time in other clubs and how he didn't perform there. He did not have the players that he has now.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Because even I made a short video on it and kind of making fun of Napoli, but it's true when you think about it. He's a temporary contract. He knows Napoli inside out. He's gonna get you organized, and you got Ahmed there who's watched you, and you guys actually did. Yeah, you did look good against Atalanta, and you could look. I mean, only saw the highlights of yesterday. You did look pretty good against Real Madrid for one half, anyway. So yeah, how has been the first two matches on the Mazzarri?
It's been great, man. I mean, with Garcia, there were games that we won and we weren't satisfied. With Mazzarri, we lost and we feel satisfied because
Mm.
we're seeing the players give it 110%. We're seeing traits of Spalletti back into this team. For example, if you look at Anguissa's goal against Real Madrid, the run that he makes into the box to find that sort of space for himself, that's very similar to Spalletti's style of football, where everybody's just going into these spaces. I mean, you guys will have seen that maybe with the national team recently. That's something that was missing under Garcia. Under Garcia, everything was super static.
Mhm.
Players were not allowed to make runs. Players were not allowed to do anything too complex. It was very elementary football, and now we finally get something nice for the eyes.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because for us Inter fans with Mazzarri, we associate him with a 3-5-2 or whatever it was back in the day, and that was the
Yeah.
peak of our banter era. But I personally, because I actually watched the game, I went to the San Siro to watch Napoli Inter versus Napoli 2-2 it was, and it was I can't remember who scored the first goal, but Guarin scored like a last minute equalizer from a
Oh yeah,
corner.
I remember that
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah. So I have
I
personal good memories of Mazzari because of that.
no, but well, the thing about Mazzari that I think goes a bit under the radar is the fact that just like Spalletti, and I don't want to put
Mhm.
them on the same level, but just like Spalletti, he took some time out of football to
Mhm.
really study the game, study the new players, study the new systems. And he said very clearly, I studied Spalletti. And it's not like me and you studying Spalletti. I mean, this is a professional coach saying that he studied Spalletti, watched all his games, and is just he literally said it. His goal coming into Napoli is to just get us to play how we were playing last year. No
Mhm.
more, no less. He's not going to come here and do some crazy experiments. He's going to play as much as possible close to Spalletti.
Yeah, no, it was quite surprising because I heard he said we'll play 4-3-3, and he said at Coverciano, the Italian national school of coaches, he's the one that they bring in to coach different formations. So that was interesting that that he's the go-to guy for Coverciano apparently. Um, But going back to Garcia, I mean, what? Because I remember when you signed him again, I made a video where I wasn't sure about it, but then I saw your video, and you were kind of positive about Rudy Garcia. What
Yeah.
what exactly went wrong there? Apart from obviously he just wasn't good enough, but can you touch on was it like the vibes? Was it his man management, or was it just tactics?
Yeah, it was a bit of everything, to be honest. And yeah, you're right. I wouldn't say over the moon of his arrival, but I thought, look, we're not going to win the Scudetto the first season under Garcia, but what he did his first season at Roma, that I just saw it as maybe something that he could replicate at Napoli, where
Mhm.
you have the likes of maybe Politano turning into the old Gervinho that they had at Rome, and to some extent that was the case. The problem was,
Yeah,
I think, in the
Politano was good
midfield we
bowling,
didn't
right?
have guys. Yeah, the problem I think is in the midfield we didn't have guys like Nangolan and Strutman. We have guys that are much more technical. Well, Nangolan is a very good player, but he's Lobotka and him are very different.
Yeah.
And I think Garcia failed to adapt to the squad that he had. He tried to go back to the things that he knew without adapting. And I don't think he saw much of Napoli last season. So I think that was a key issue. Another one was just how he dealt with players. I feel like there was never chemistry between them. Apparently, he was speaking only in French to
Really?
his collaborators, and the players didn't know what he was saying to them. There was, and then when he got fired, there's all these things of like, oh, Garcia's coming back this weekend because he has to cancel his swimming course, and oh, Garcia's coming back this weekend because he has to go to his thing about there's something about the church that he has to take some course because he's getting married and all these things. And basically, Garcia in Naples was doing everything except train players. He was
Wow.
out there living his best life, and it's very different from Spalletti, who lived in that literally training center for 2 years. That was his life.
Mm.
Garcia was there, and a bit maybe like Ancelotti. I don't think he dedicated himself enough to this team, and I think
Yeah.
Napoli does need a coach that gives it 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Napoli is definitely one of those places where you can't be half-assing or part-timing it. You need to be giving everything. And how much blame do you give? Of course, he's done an amazing job since you've come back to Serie A. But how much blame do you give to ADL? I mean, Giuntoli leaves, and he doesn't replace him, and that whole drama. Obviously, Spalletti leaves, replaces him himself. It seems like he handpicked Garcia. Like, how much blame are you giving ADL?
Yeah, I would say, look, he did great last season to put himself in a position where we have a Scudetto winning side. And I think that regardless of any kind of offer he would have given Spalletti, Spalletti would have refused, because I don't believe for 1 second that Spalletti didn't know that that Italian job was up for grabs.
Mm.
There was there was something in the air with Mancini potentially leaving. He failed to qualify for the World Cup, and we weren't playing so well. So I'm sure that he knew something was maybe boiling there. And I think a guy like Spalletti knew that at Napoli, what are you going to do? Do more than 90 points the second time in a row? That's, or
Yeah.
what? You have to improve yourself. You have to go to the semifinals of the Champions League. I
Mhm.
mean, even for Inter, who reached the final, that's going to be hard this year, and they probably have a better team. Just because you get you get a Real Madrid in your path in the quarterfinals, and that's it, man.
Yeah.
So Spalletti knew that. So I don't blame ADL for having let go of Spalletti. What I
Mm.
do blame him for, and maybe not even for letting go of Giuntoli, because Giuntoli had been there for 8 years, wanted to go to his boyhood club, Juventus, whatever. Um, what I do blame him on is the fact that we didn't get a replacement for Giuntoli before going on the recruit for managers. It's a bit unheard of
Right.
that the
Yeah.
president goes and tries to find a manager without having the sporting director, because who's
Mm.
doing the transfers? Who's taking care of the decisions on players? And in fact, when he approached Thiago Motta said, "Who's the sporting director?" And De Laurenti said, "I'm your sporting director." And Thiago Motta said, "Ciao." But obviously, I mean, it's not serious.
Mm. What were the Luis Enrique rumors true? Did he get approached?
I I think so as well. I think he actually did want to sign all these great coaches, but what coach is gonna walk into a team that doesn't have a sporting director?
Mm.
I think a serious coach wants to have a serious structure behind him, a serious organization. And unfortunately for Napoli, the Scudetto, if anything, taught us that we are still amateurs in the backstage, whereas the backstage just doesn't match what we had on the field.
Mm.
From the way that we organized the title celebrations, from the way we organized the summer transfers, to that whole thing that happened with the ultras in the Milan game that was decisive for us. There was just a lot of things behind the scene where you can tell that this club isn't professional at times.
Yeah. Yeah. Good points. Good points. This is things that I wouldn't even think of that you're raising. Um, what
Yeah,
about like
unfortunately.
what about in terms of yeah like for Inter fans? Let me just put it into perspective what Dom just explained. Imagine that Steven Zhang was doing the transfers himself. Like he said, Beppe, Marotta, step aside. Auxilio, don't care about your scouting. I know who to bring in. So imagine that's what basically De Laurentiis
Yeah.
has been doing.
And if you think about Inter, one of their biggest strengths is their sporting directors, is their their structure behind the scenes. You've got Zanetti, you've got Marotta. These are important, influential guys. I mean, they've won Serie A's upon Serie A's upon Serie A's, and you can really tell that, for example, Juventus, when they lost Marotta, how they declined. And you
Yeah.
can tell how Milan's struggling now ever since the whole Maldini thing. I mean, you need people behind the scenes that are that glue between players, coach, and club, and also that convince players to come to your club. I mean, when Zanetti goes to someone and says, "I want you to join my club," man, even I would go
Mm.
if Zanetti, and I'm not an Inter fan, but I mean, how can you say no to Zanetti, right? But Napoli, who do they have that brings players in? I mean, Giuntoli was building up a reputation and then he left.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. They're not going to be listening to ADL if they're asking them to come
If
and
anything,
make
they're
some
gonna run
stuff.
away. If
Yeah,
anything, the more I
the
swear,
slavery contract.
every extra minute that he spends talking to a player, the further he gets.
Yeah, when they start talking about image rights and percentages and
Yeah.
bonuses, him and Lotito, just some of those contracts they somehow make those players sign is crazy.
Oh
But
man.
let's move on to the players, Dom, because obviously last year I think there were some over performances from a lot of your players, which I don't know how much you would attribute to Spalletti or not. Um, but there are some
Mhm.
players that are undoubtedly world class in your team. Let's start off with the guy on the far right, who obviously was signed by Bayern Munich, was wanted by many teams. For me, was the best centre back in Serie A, and was quite rightly awarded with that award. Kim,
Yeah.
how much do you miss that guy?
Oh, we miss him terribly, terribly. Especially because at the start, the first 5 games, we were playing with Juan Jesus as his replacement, which is like
Speaking of
we
Interbanter
deserve
era,
we deserve 0 points. Like we don't deserve to win when you replace Kim with Juan Jesus, man. Nathan seems to be, working his way to becoming a decent center back. Definitely not the level of Kim, but I think apart from Kim and his great defensive qualities and attributes, I think what he really did was he gave confidence to the whole defense.
yeah.
Rahmani was a better player next to him. Meret was more confident when he had Kim in front of him. It allowed Di Lorenzo to push up further. He made
Mhm.
everybody else play better just because they knew that they had Kim behind him. Now, without Kim, Di Lorenzo can't get as far up the field. Rahmani has to take a leadership position, which he's not good at. Meret doesn't have someone to save him when crosses come in. Now he's exposed of the fact that he doesn't know how to exit his line. So that gap is not just, oh, we've lost a player. We've literally
Mm.
lost something that enables everything else to function the way it functioned last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rahmani, like speaking of Rahmani, like yesterday I was thinking about it because I saw Merit's mistake. I was thinking, if you had to pick one player, Dom, who was the player that you think most overperformed in that Scudetto winning team? Because I'm thinking between Rahmani and Merit. That's my thinking.
I think it would have to be either Rahmani. Yeah, it would have to be Rahmani because at the end, Meret didn't have that much to do. That's
Mm,
how good Kim was for Napoli, and that's how dominant we were on the ball. I mean, we did not allow teams to take a shot on target. And yes, Meret had to make a few good saves last year. One against Giroud was incredible. But in general, we could have had more or less any goalkeeper there and it would have been fine.
yeah.
And that's the case when you win by 20 points. Rahmani, though, the leap that he did when he got partnered next to Kim is insane, and like the drop off as well is quite severe. And you could even tell that when Kim missed 1 or 2 games last year and he was partnered with someone else, you could feel that drop off. So
Mm.
yeah, Rahmani, and you can really tell he's struggling in being a leader at the back. He's not that guy.
He's not that guy. Yeah, he's not that guy. He's not him. What about? I mean, the other two, they definitely didn't overperform. I think that's like their true level. we finally saw the real Osimhen, and Kvara was, took the league by storm. But what do you make of them this season? I mean, obviously Osimhen's got his injury. Kvara had his injury at the beginning of the season as well. Has been a little bit of a drop off. Do you think? Yeah, what do you think? Do you think there was an overperformance from these two, or do you think now this season is kind of just Napoli just not as good, so they're suffering because of that?
Yeah, I think well, with Osimhen it's a much easier thing because it's now a few seasons that he's with Napoli, so we know his level. Everybody knows
Mm.
his level. Yes, last year it was, something completely different, something extra compared to before. But I mean, you can tell even against Madrid, he had that half chance. He scored, but it was offside. You just know that that's his level.
Yeah,
With Kvara, it was his first season, and so we have less data to see. Okay, is this a one-off or not? But you can tell that the quality is there. I mean, it's clear as day. What I will say though is that since March, he's had a bit of a drop, but that's also because I feel that other teams are extensively ganging up on him, putting two, three
oh yeah,
players on him. And I think that's tough. And I think that he's mentally now understanding that, oh, I'm the guy that's supposed to like make things happen. So then he tries a bit too hard. Whereas when he first came on for Napoli, he was like a kid in the playground, just doing whatever, having fun. Now I feel like he's got that responsibility, and he's super young. He's in his early 20s. He's still adapting to all that, but I'm sure it'll come good.
yeah. I think Inter was one of the first teams who gave him that taste of like doubling up when it was Skriniar and Darmian. I think it was that first game. Remember when we beat
Yeah,
you
and
1
Barella
0?
as well on
Yeah,
him. It's definitely a way to stop Napoli, to just overload defenders on Kvara, and then you lose like 50% of your attacking power at that point.
yeah. And you in the Scudetto season last year, if I remember correctly, because I do watch most of your content, I think you gave more percentage importance to Kvara than Osimhen, didn't you?
Yeah, I feel like look, Osimhen is also just as important as Kvara, but at the end of the day, Kvara came and revolutionized this Napoli team. I mean, Osimhen was there the past two seasons as well, and we
Mm,
couldn't get close to making a title challenge. So the one ingredient that really changed was Kvara, and then I always compare it to what did we have before? And
mm.
you could say, oh, but Kim was very good. Yeah, but we had Koulibaly. And Koulibaly, even though he dropped off after going to Chelsea, he would have still performed very high for Napoli had he stayed. We would have maybe still won the title. What really made the difference last year was replacing Insigne with Kvara, because Insigne was having a disastrous season, only
Yeah,
scored twice from open play. The rest was penalties. And of those penalties that he had, half of them he missed anyways. So he was really holding us back. And then, so that delta from Insigne to Kvara, that's what really propelled us.
mm.
It's not like Osimhen improved massively or Kim is that much better than Koulibaly, but Kvara is miles ahead of Insigne, at least of the Insigne that we had the previous season.
Yeah. You can tell, guys. Dom studies finance and economics. Is bringing in delta in the data.
Deltas, man.
Yeah.
He's got the delta.
No, yeah, those are really good points. And what about Osimhen? I mean, this season, obviously, we talked. He's injured. Is he going to be back for the game? By the way, this
Yeah,
weekend.
he should be back. He's put that Inter game on his calendar, put a big X on it. That's the day he's gonna come back as a starter. Got 20
Okay.
minutes against Atalanta, 45 against Madrid. Honestly, he looked sharp. I think he's ready now for big boy minutes.
Mm. Oh,
I
great,
don't
great
know. I
time.
know, man. I mean, at the same time, Mazzarri could be giving us a surprise, maybe putting Raspadori. Who knows?
Mm.
You guys all expect Osimhen, but no, I don't
Yeah.
think so. But yeah, what do you think, man, of this now? I'm curious to know what you think of this Napoli team. Like, are you guys worried at all, or are you guys like, ah, these guys are fallen giants?
Well, to be honest, I mean, squad wise, yeah, like I think you should be comfortably getting top four. Like that squad is way too good. And I don't see. I mean, you guys are better than Roma and like Fiorentina and all these other teams, Lazio. So you should be getting top four. I don't know whether you're like can make a late kind of or like a weak challenge for the Scudetto still because you're still right there. You're like 8 points behind. It's not too far. But yeah, squad wise, I think you're still one of the best teams for sure. I just don't know. I don't know what to like expect from Mazzarri. Like he's been so long out of the game or like at the top level that I don't really know what to expect from Mazzarri. But I am worried about this game specifically. First because it's away. We don't really do too well at the San Paolo, or sorry, the Diego Armando Maradona now. And Mazzarri has given you guys, by the looks of it, more defensive structure now, which we do struggle. Like, do you envisage? Because I haven't watched your Real Madrid game. I watched you against Atalanta. Do you envisage Napoli taking control of the game or sitting back? Because if you do sit back, then I think we'll struggle.
I don't think Napoli is the type of team that can afford to sit back because we don't have the type of players that are able to absorb crosses and absorb that kind of pressure. And we saw it against both Atalanta and Real Madrid in the second half when we lost a bit of energy and we gave the ball to the other team a bit more. That's when we really struggled. So Napoli, their best bet of winning the game is to keep the ball, not try to hold back and then hit on the counter. That's not how Napoli should operate. I think Napoli will go out there and in the first half try to control the game, try to set the tempo. But I do think that this Inter team has just got a lot more energy than us. They seem way better prepared physically. They rested a lot of their players against Benfica, whereas we've been kind of with the same 11 almost all season. And so I feel like after the 65th minute, if the score is still tied, then that's when I worry that Inter is going to just take the upper hand and then we're going to see Inter dominate us. But I do think that for the first hour, it should be more of a Napoli control.
Yeah, I mean, if you say that the that you're going to be slightly more open and more controlling possession, then yeah, that gives me a bit more confidence because that's the type of teams that Inter is able to hurt. Because you've seen now with Thuram especially coming into the team that on the transition where we can kill teams now, which in the past we could kind of do with Lukaku or but the Thuram has just been unreal.
And Thuram is such a great buy from Inter because he's exactly the player that you guys have always wanted. That it's the player that you saw in Correa that he never became.
Yeah, he was supposed to be that. Yeah,
like Correa should have been this guy, and then you guys obviously made that acquisition. It didn't go well, but it's not like you guys gave up on that idea. You guys kept going and you identified another player that could get that for you guys, which is props to Inter. You can tell they've got a project. You can tell this is how they want to play football. They trust Inzaghi. He wants this type of player. He gets that type of player. If it doesn't happen the first time, it'll happen the second or third.
Yeah, we wanted to run for like two years because then he got injured originally and we had to go for Correa. So yeah, it does show that if there is some money, which is what we struggle with, there is some plan and some ideas. One thing I wanted to ask you because old Rossonero was in the house. He asked, this is an interesting question. I guess he's asking if you would take one player. Well, by the way, check out old Rossonero's channel, AC Milan fan. And Dom's been on his channel a couple of times. One player that you take from Inter and vice versa. You go first.
You start.
To be honest, I don't think I would take anyone, to be honest. I mean, none of them fit our
the disrespect. The disrespect.
No, I mean, I would take Kvara, but where does he fit in a 3-5-2? That's the problem. I don't really see him fit in a 3-5-2. I mean, yeah, no, honestly, no one.
You mean a team that got 90 points last year? You wouldn't take any one of those players?
Well, I definitely would have took Osimhen last season. I think remember we've done our like combined teams in the past. I think it was 2 seasons ago when we did it. And but back then, Lautaro this season has reached like a level now that he's the best striker in Serie A right now, and Thuram, he's the best like support striker, if I can say so. It's really hard for me to take anyone because
Come on, man,
Zielinski
take
I would
Meret.
take, but I don't know if he
Take
would start
Meret.
for
Come
him.
on. Come on, take Meret.
I'm happy. I'm happy with the Zoma. Yeah, like some people are saying Raspadori. Yeah, Raspadori, but again, I wouldn't take him in front of Thuram. That's the thing.
I don't
Di
know. I
Lorenzo.
feel like our midfielders are
Okay,
quality.
yeah, wait. I'll take Di Lorenzo over Dumfries. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I I think as much as you have great players all over the park, one guy that we haven't talked about, and he's like my favorite Inter player, is Di Marco.
Oh
Do
God,
you
this guy.
bro, bro,
I have to give
bro,
it. I have to give it to you. You've been on Di
2 years
Marcos.
ago, guys, everybody that's following, go check out our video 2 years ago when we did this combined 11, and I put Dimarco on the left, and Uncle Sharma was like, "What are you doing, bro? Dimarco, he's washed, he's rubbish."
No,
And I was
no,
like,
no, 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 you're exaggerating. I
and
think
I
it's
was
because
and
I
I
prefer
and I was
Perisic.
like, trust me, this guy is gonna be so good, and he is, man. I love Dimarco, man, and if I could have him on the left instead of Oliveira or Mario Rui, I'd take that any time, because how are you gonna defend Dimarco and Kvara on one side? It's impossible.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be
one
crazy.
guy will be overlapping, the other underlapping, overlapping together, like it'll be crazy. It'll be like just the most insane left side of a football team ever. No, maybe not, but you know what I mean. Like, it'll be so good
Yeah,
to see that, which is
yeah, the
yeah.
overpowered left hand side. Yeah,
I
I
think that's
found
the
the
guy that will give us the biggest improvement.
I found the 11 that we made. I found it. So on the left hand side you can see Dom's 11, and on the right hand side you see mine. So
Hey,
I had Koulibaly from your side, and yeah, I had Perisic over Di Marco. Perisic had like his best ever season that year as well, so that's why.
yeah, that was prime Perisic.
Yeah, and you still had Insigne. And see, I didn't have Lautaro in mind because at that time it was probably one of Lautaro's bad patches, and I was going through my
Yeah,
usual
you had
Lautaro
Zeko over Lautaro, man.
diet. Hey man, Zeko had a really good first like 6 months when he came to Inter, and then he just got
Yeah.
used to death by Inzaghi and died.
Now these are two good teams, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Fabian
would
Ruiz,
I would
you.
yeah, I would say out of the team that I picked, um, probably only Di Lorenzo, Di Marco, and Osimhen, I guess, are still either at the same level or better. Everybody, and maybe Anguissa. So
Mhm.
it just shows you how 2 years can make such a big difference. No, like, what was someone like six players in the combined 11 are just now nowhere. Which is see how things change in football.
But guys, are you seeing this sacrilege that he did? He didn't even pick Brozovic. He put Anguissa and Fabian Ruiz over Brozovic. What?
Bro,
Crazy.
Fabian Ruiz had a patch where he was scoring goals for fun, man.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a
Yeah,
cheat code. He would just get like edge of the box, left foot curler, guaranteed
yeah.
goal.
No, but Dimarco, man, I feel like he's such a game changer for you guys. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So my answer was Di Lorenzo and your was Di Marco.
Yeah. So, but I
Mhm.
think it makes sense, right? That we're looking at the fullback positions, because in today's modern day football, that's the role that I think is evolving the most. You
Mhm.
need modern fullbacks nowadays, and they're really the difference between like a great team and an average team. I mean, all the great teams just have like incredible fullbacks. In Liverpool, it's Trent. In Man City, it's Walker. In Milan, 2 years ago it was Theo Hernandez. Like,
Mhm.
you need, or Bayern when they won the Champions League, it was when Davies was, ripping it up. So I feel like if you can get one of your fullbacks in a great run of form, then that's what's gonna make the difference.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Habria, come on.
And what happened to Mario Rui this season, by the way?
He's been out injured. He was injured in preseason, got back, injured again. He's a bit older now. I don't think he's got that kind of fitness anymore. And Oliveira hasn't stepped it up the way maybe I thought he would have.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, he looks the part, Oliver, like, physically, and like when I see him, he looks the part, but then yeah, his performances don't really match up to the looks.
Yeah, I would say he doesn't screw up anything. He's never gonna be on the wrong side of the news,
Mm,
but he doesn't give you anything. He's just kind of there. Doesn't assist, doesn't score, doesn't shoot. He's just there to close the triangles when you play a 1-2 with a winger. And honestly, that's not good enough. You need someone that's gonna contribute to the assists, contribute to the goals, like we see with Di Marco, like at times we see with Di Lorenzo. I mean, these are. I'm convinced that that's the most important position on the field in today's modern game.
hmm Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it's evolving. You got the fullbacks underlap now. They come inside, inverted,
Yeah,
extroverted, outverted, whatever. All these different ways of playing the
they're
fullback.
everything you need them to be. It's
Yeah,
crazy what they do nowadays.
yeah. Thank you, Bruce Wayne, by the way, for the donation. Great show. Enjoying this with Dom. Yes, always a good time when Dom comes on the channel. Bob Marley says, do another combined 11. Maybe we can do one, Dom. What do you think? Like, not like one
Yeah,
for each one of us. Let's do
yeah,
one
yeah.
together. Yeah, we can do that at the end of the
All right.
stream. So yeah,
You
stay
wanna
tuned.
you wanna pick a formation?
I'll let you have the 4-3-3 because I know it's going to be primarily interplayer. So I'll let you have the formation at least.
I would. You know what? I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna pull a Svengor Eriksson and go with like a 4-4-2.
Wow. He was
Yeah,
Sam
it's old
Allardyce.
school. It's old school. It's old
Yeah.
school, but you have to have Lautaro and Osimhen in the same starting 11. If you were the coach of a team, and let's be real, if you were the coach of a team and you had both for whatever reason, Lautaro and Osimhen, how do you not build a team around that being your strike pair?
Yeah. But I feel like with Thuram, because the way he drifts on to the sides, he's kind of a bit more of a, you know, complementary to the main striker, if you know what I mean. But we'll do that. We'll do that at the end. We'll do that at the end. Let me just quickly go through the predicted lineups because Gazzetta the only place where I could find them because we are quite early in this preview. It's a Thursday, so not a lot of them are out. For Inter, it's pretty predictable. This will probably be the starting 11 because Inzaghi completely rotated against Benfica and it'll be the starting 11. I'm pretty sure of it. What about for Napoli? Osimhen's up front. Kajust is in there instead of Anguissa, and Juan Jesus at left back. What do you think of this?
Yeah, Juan Jesus at left back is something that um, is a bit of a weak spot for us. The problem with Juan Jesus is that he's really slow. So what he has to do to kind of counter that is he has to always try to anticipate the pass and sort of like stick a foot in before it gets to the opposition. But he's too slow to do that as well. So then he doesn't get there in time, leaves a big hole behind him. Players twist around him,
His
and then
athleticism was like one real good attribute.
yeah, yeah. So Juan Jesus, I think it would make sense for Turam to exploit whatever kind of space Juan Jesus leaves, whether that be taking him on with the ball or maybe getting at the end of a cross and just beating Juan Jesus to like finish off the cross and score.
Mhm.
I see that as being a huge issue for us. But yeah, let's see what Osimhen can do against this Inter defense. I mean, those names for me, Acerbi, De Vrij, and Darmian, they're not the toughest of
Mhm.
defenders, in my opinion, that you could face in today's game. But for whatever reason, when you put them together, they're quite solid. So
Yeah.
let's see. But
Yeah.
it's funny to me to think that actually Osimhen against Acerbi, Acerbi is probably going to win that. But Acerbi, he's a big game player.
He is. He is. He's pocketed Haaland. He's pocketed Harry Kane. He's pocketed big strikers over a short time at Inter and for Italy recently. So yeah,
Yeah, I think the problem is that if you leave Osimhen alone with those three, it's going to be impossible for him. I think the key of this game is to get Kvara and Politano to both be back up to Osimhen. One of
Mm.
them stays wide, stretch Inter, and the other one gets close to Osimhen and works with him.
Yeah.
That's how I think Napoli should play. Let's see if they do it.
But Cherby, one thing though, he has been really overplayed recently because he played every game for Italy, and then he played he even played yesterday, even though there was a heavily rotated Inter team. But he was playing because Bastoni is out at the moment, so he could be a little bit fatigued, Acerbi. So that could be something that you can exploit. But apart from
Let's
that, we
see.
should be pretty well rested.
Yeah.
And yeah, what about Kajust in midfield instead of Anguissa?
I'm not too sure why they've put him there. I don't think Anguissa's got any kind of suspension or
Mhm.
whatnot. To be honest, I don't mind. I don't mind Cajuste as a player. He actually, I think, deserves a chance. He's someone that I think has a lot to offer to this Napoli team in terms of interception and all that. He's actually a more probably physical player than Anguissa. I think there's this
Really?
misconception. Yeah, I feel like there's this misconception about Anguissa being this really physical player. The problem with Anguissa is that when you're close to him and you have to go for a tackle and you're kind of already there, then he's probably going to beat you to it. But if you're 2 meters away, Anguissa is not going to run after you.
Yeah, he's the
So
static physique. Is he
he's
physically?
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're coming towards Anguissa, you're gonna get found out. But if you just stay like 2-3 meters away from him, he's not gonna chase after you. So with Inter players being guys that like to run around, I feel like having Cayuse there, he's more of a bulldog. He's more of a someone that's gonna run after players, be at their heels. And I think maybe that's what we need. But let's
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because Brozovic versus Hakan is like as regista is like Brozovic ran more. Like he used to cover the most kilometers in Serie A, but the way Brozovic covers those ground is like at a slower pace. So I see what you mean about Anguissa. Hakan is like he covers less ground, but he covers it with like more venom. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
surprised honestly of how well he's been playing in that position for you guys.
yeah,
I remember seeing games, not maybe last season, but the one before, where you take Brozovic out of the team and you guys really struggled. So
yeah,
I thought that would be a huge gap, a huge thing missing for you guys. But Hakan's stepped it up. He's an intelligent football player. So yeah,
yeah. I never used to really like him that much as a Mezzala, but as a CDM, he's been amazing for me. Probably one of the players of the season. I think he's been.
yeah,
I think he's the best midfielder in Serie A this season, in my opinion.
really,
Hmm. I can't think of
yeah,
anyone else playing regularly at this level,
yeah.
which also
Maybe
shows the
maybe
level
not.
of Serie A this season.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Maybe I think a lot of it has to do with no, there's not been like a standout. There's not even been like a revelation this year, really, in the Serie A. You know what I mean? In
Yeah,
like
yeah. There's
last
no
year, there was
Kvara.
Kvara, and like this year, I don't feel like anyone's kind of stepped it up. So then we are looking at these more established players to uh, Krunic.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah,
obviously Napoli players last season, it was like team of the season. It was just like Napoli players. So it was last year. It was Lobotka was definitely the best, and
yeah,
yeah. This year, I think it's
yeah.
probably
We
going to
forgot
be
that.
into players, even though like Barella this season not been that good. Oh yeah, Sule has probably been revelation of the season.
Sule's been good. Sule's
Yeah.
been good, yeah.
But yeah, if you put that lineup out, Dom, and maybe Anguissa for it's just reloading, Anguissa for Cajusto, either way, what do you envision? What's your prediction for this match? I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, as I said, I think we're gonna start well. We never really have a problem in just having moments of the game where we're good. I feel like definitely we're gonna have moments in this game where we are gonna be the better team. What I worry about is that we have these lack of intensity that happens at time. We tend to get tired very fast. I don't think the preparation that Garcia did, the like athletic preparation, I don't think it was appropriate. And so that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about getting caught out just from a physical stamina point of view, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, and then Inter have been a team that does last, the distance usually. So that gives me
Yeah, I think
confidence.
I saw somewhere that you guys, um, I don't know if you guys like run one of the most, but definitely Napoli was like second least like of the teams that run around. And I know that's
No,
maybe
no,
because
actually,
we
we
have a bit
dropped
more
off in
possession.
that stat. Yeah, no, we've dropped off quite a lot than that start this
Yeah.
season. It's Lazio is number one, and then Monza. And this year, yeah, we've dropped off quite a bit, which actually means that we're running more smartly than in the past, maybe. Like,
Yeah, you have more possession
yeah,
and all that. But I feel like Napoli is just not, I don't know. There's something missing with us on a physical point of view. I just don't think we're there.
yeah. Yeah, my prediction is, yeah, I think it will be a close one. I don't expect this to be a high scoring affair. I think Mazzarri will probably not close shot, but I think be cautious. I don't think you'll want to do what happened against Real Madrid the other day and open yourself up to constant attacks. So I'm predicting 2-1 victory for Inter.
Mm. I'm, you know what, I'm quite confident on the other way around. I usually never predict a Napoli win,
Mhm.
just because of I don't want to jinx it and all that. And old hard Rossonero is watching us, so he knows that I don't predict Napoli wins because I didn't do it when we played against Milan. But I feel like maybe this time Mazzarri's first at home. Let's not forget his third game, but his first at home. I think there's going to be that special atmosphere, that special energy that's gonna push us to victory. Not
Mm.
because we're the better team. Inter's the better team this year, but I just feel like in a 90-minute game at home under these special circumstances, maybe we might just do it.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, there should be a good atmosphere there. Yeah, you're convincing me
Yeah.
more towards a draw now. But yeah,
Just assume that Napoli does win, and
uh,
then Juve win their game, and they go above Inter. Where do you see the league heading towards? Do you think there's going to be a 3-4 horse race, or do you even think that you're going to be in a title race with Juve, or is the Inter mindset right now like, yeah, we're the better team, we're going to win by 10 points by the end of all this, like, and this is again assuming you guys lose to Napoli. What do you think is going to happen?
well, yeah, so Juve are playing Monza, which, they did lose to them both times last year, but let's assume that Juve win on the other hand and go ahead. I think, yeah, it's still early stages. Usually after the 18th to 20th match days when I start to, or we can really start to see who's really in the title race. But I think, yeah, I think it's because Juve are out of Europe. I think it's going to be between Inter and Juve. Um,
Mm.
but as I said, Napoli is a big unknown for me at the moment. So I'm going to go back to you. Like, do you think Napoli, let's say you win tomorrow, Sunday, do you think Napoli can get back in the Scudetto race, or is it just top four and vibes for you this year?
No, I don't think we'll be in the Scudetto race, but not because of something against this team or Mazzari, but it's because of the African Cup of Nations that's gonna just kill us. Whatever momentum we end up getting, even if we beat Inter, even if we beat Juventus, we'd have to go another month without Osimhen and Anguissa, and I just don't think that that's something that this Napoli team has the quality to overcome. So I think these, let's call them external factors, will stop us from mounting a title charge. I do think we're good enough to be in the top four. I don't think that's ever in doubt. Even with Garcia, I don't think that would have been in doubt. I mean, Lazio, Roma, Fiorentina, all these other guys, they're just so inconsistent, and I have like zero faith in them. So yeah,
Yeah, we have been very good this season away, which was actually our Achilles heel last year, where we lost a lot of points away from home. But this season we've been unbeaten away, so hopefully we can keep that up. And yeah, like you can see a lot of confidence in the chat as well, which is not usually
did
the
someone
case.
say? Did someone say Napoli is still needs to convince me? So the title race is between the big three, including Milan. Milan, there's no way. Like, okay, do you think Milan has a better chance than Napoli?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Pioli is this black magic voodoo. I just can't like. He's somehow like he's gonna be on the edge of losing his job, and then somehow something will happen, and someone was Leao will come back and score a hat trick. Like there's something that always saves Milan.
Oh man, I couldn't disagree more. That
Not
Milan
on
team,
paper, like, I think you guys have a better team, but I don't understand Milan. They always do it somehow. Like even last year, they finished fifth and still finished fourth.
well, I think they're the team that has actually the most. I feel like their world class players are incredible. Like Giroud is an incredible player. Leao, Theo Hernandez. I feel like those Magnan, like those four, are on their day the best in their position. Yes, I said that about Giroud, but honestly, Giroud on his day, I'd take him over both Lautaro and Osimhen.
That's because you've been
Honest,
banned by
honest,
Giroud recently.
man. Honestly, Giroud is so underappreciated. There's a reason why he's a World Cup winner, and Deschamps chose him. Even though look how stacked France is, and Deschamps was still insisting with Giroud. So on their day, they're an incredible team. But I mean, the way that it's been handled right now, I have no confidence in them. No confidence.
Yeah, but it's literally you're asking me between Pioli and Mazzarri, so it's like if I had to pick one, I'd pick Pioli, if you know what I mean. That's literally what I'm going off.
All right. All right.
But yeah, so we're both pretty confident for each other's teams or our teams that we support. So let's finish up the video, Dom, as people requested. Let's do the combined 11 in the 4-4-2 as requested by Sam Allardyce, Domenico.
Yeah, 4-4-2. Let's
So
do it.
okay, I'll agree with you that we have to have Lautaro and Osimhen up front. Even though I think Thuram has been in better form, I'll give generally for his body of work, let's put Osimhen in. Now let's discuss. Let's go from the back now. We started off at the front. Let's go from the back. Oh wait, I'm not even sharing the screen. So goalkeeper, I think. Come on. Are we gonna argue about Meret?
All right, but what about Golini?
Glorious.
No, let's put Sommer. Let's be serious right now.
Yeah, let's be serious. Let's be serious. If it was a rap hip hop 11, then Glorious obviously would be the starter.
I'm
Right back.
impressed by Sommer. Right back.
Yeah,
Di Lorenzo.
this one, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
shout out to Denzel, who has been having I think he's had a better season this year than Di Lorenzo. Let's be real.
I don't know, I mean, I know Denzel's been playing well, but Di Lorenzo's had
But
quite a
for the
few
Netherlands
contributions.
team as well, like Di Lorenzo had a bit of a stinky game for Italy.
Yeah, yeah, but if you're in a let's pretend you're in a Champions League final right now. You're gonna put Di Lorenzo. You're gonna rely on Di Lorenzo.
Yeah. I'll give you that. Okay,
Left back,
center back pairings.
center back. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's do the left back. Let's do left back Di Marco. That's clear.
All right. Okay. Yeah. To be fair, if it was last season, I would have given you Mario Rui would have given a strong shout, but this season it's pretty easy.
It's clear.
Okay.
Di Marco's
So
clear.
Juan Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I think I don't know. What do you think? I know it's for the back, so not ideal for the Inter players, but
Mhm.
you got to put Acerbi and Bastoni, maybe, no, as the two center backs, or what do you think?
I would have put Bastoni, to be honest. Bastoni, just like performance-wise, yes, he's really good going forward. But honestly, I would put De Vrij and Acerbi personally.
Yeah,
As
is that a general
defending.
consensus, you think, with Inter fans?
I think. I mean, Ahmad says Pavard and Bastoni. I mean, Pavard has not been here long enough for that to. I mean, maybe in like general reputation and body of work, we could say that, but I personally wouldn't put Pavard in there yet.
Pavard would be more of a right back, anyways. No, in a four
exactly.
at the back, he'd be more as a right back. Yeah.
I would put personally De Vrij and Acerbi, if you agree with me.
Go ahead. You know them more.
No, put them in the wrong position, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, left mid. I mean, Ian had a good, interesting point that we could put, stick to Ram as one of the wingers. That's also a possibility.
That's what I was thinking. I agree. Have wingers Kvara and Thuram.
No Politano, he's been like your best player this season.
No, this team has higher ambitions than that. Come on.
Wow, Kefren Thuram comes before Marcus. That's disgraceful. Okay, centre mids. I mean, if it was last season again, this would have been pretty easy win between Lobotka, Zielinski, or Anguissa. But this season and in general, I mean, Hakan has to be there. Hakan has to be there.
All right, I'll give you Hakan.
Oh, okay. In the comments, a lot of people are disagreeing with me. There's not a general consensus by the looks of it.
I think it's tight between those three center backs, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll put. I'm a man of the people. I'll put Bastoni instead of De Vrij because it seems like there's a lot of shouts for Bastoni. So
last minute change.
Three left-footed players. I wouldn't put that in real life.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're giving me Hakan.
Oh, this is tough because in theory, right? I would love to see a midfield of Barella and one of the Napoli players, but you chose Hakan, so.
Yeah, I think if you just do it off, general, like reputation, body of work, and like future prospect, everything, like it has to be Barella, but he just hasn't been good enough for me to put him in like a combined 11 this season. Like even Inter.
Okay, if we're basing it off this season, then the only Napoli midfielder that has a chance of being in there is Zielinski, who I feel has actually been playing quite well. Let's take a look at Zielinski's goal contributions this year. I'm gonna just look it up while you do that.
He's doing the scouting for a future Inter player, by the way, guys. Thank you.
Right. So Zielinski started the season quite well. 2 goals and 2 assists, 1 goal in the Champions League. Not bad. 5 goal contribution in 18 games. Not bad.
That's good. Yeah, that's I'd give it. Oh yeah, Zielinski was good. Zielinski has been good. That's true. Even under Garcia, he was pretty good.
Yeah. If not, okay. Otherwise, if you do with Inter's formation or 4-3-3, is there anything that like would massively change?
Okay, let's do 3-5-2.
Screenshot this one just so we don't lose it.
Well, this beautiful. Oh wait, let me screenshot. Yeah, the previous one. Rodrigo. Yeah. Screenshot. Boom. Okay, if we go to 3-5-2, then we have to decide whether our wing backs are wing backs or wingers.
Yeah.
Because I'd still probably keep the front two doesn't change. It's the wing backs, whether we count them as wingers or
I feel like this team is wild. As a 3-5-2, for some reason it just feels off.
I mean DiMarco, inverted wing back.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
yeah,
is a bit
if
like
we're playing three, it's a good point from Palmy. If we're playing three, maybe Matty Doms has a shout to get in. Darmian, Mr. Underrated. And put Di Lorenzo as the right wing back.
oof. You want to put Darmian into a combined 11?
Bro,
like
I mean, I think he's one of those players that I think only the fans of that team can appreciate. But he's been really especially when Pavard got injured for us, he just steps in. And last season as well, when Skriniar was injured, or when all this drama was going on, he just always gives you that 6.5, 7 out of 10 performance.
Right. What about well, I think Çalhanoğlu, you'd have to. Would you pull him back to DiMarco's position?
Yeah, because
Çalhanoğlu.
he's not number 10. So let's put Hakan.
So I'm thinking maybe you could put Kvara as a cam.
Mm-hmm.
I've been calling this to happen for a long time, to get him a bit more central, which is where he plays in the national team.
Yeah.
And then on the left have, I guess, DiMarco at that point.
Yeah. Well, there's a stacked team.
Yeah. That is. Oof.
Yeah, that's the thing with Darmian. You could put him in anywhere and he'll do a job. That's the thing.
Yeah. Maybe let's go a bit more. Let's go a bit more defensive here. Let's cover ourselves a bit more, because Zielinski is also, not super good at recovering the ball. So maybe let's put Darmian instead of Thuram, maybe, and then switch Di Lorenzo and Darmian, or keep them the way they are.
Yeah.
But then you get rid of Thuram.
Yeah. Now it's a 5-3-2.
Yeah, now it's a proper 5-3-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I was feeling the 4-4-2.
Yeah, don't worry, we've got that. That's the one I'll post on social.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's an underrated formation. There's definitely, and plus, by the way, I don't want to open like a philosophical thing, but I feel like those are just numbers, right? At the end of the day, it's about your approach. Are you going to press or are you not? Are you going to go look for spaces or are you not? Are you going to sit deep? Or I think those things,
Spoken
those
like a
things are
true
much more
Spalletti fan.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the formations, I mean, you guys see it in the games, right? Like you have on paper, like we have on paper 4-3-3. I was looking at the Real Madrid game. We were 4-1-4-1 defending when we were sitting a bit deeper, and 4-4-2 defending when Real Madrid was still in their own half. So in the end, what is this 4-4? What is this 4-3-3? It's just Fugazi,
Yeah. Fugazi. Yeah, I mean, in reality, as I said, old Rossonero asked earlier, I wouldn't take any Napoli player apart from Di Lorenzo. So yeah, I've let Dom have a few players this time round. So
We'll put an Inter 11 if I can have Mazzarri on the bench.
wow, no, no, please. No, please, definitely not that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think in terms of, let's say, yeah, I don't want to get too philosophical, but do you think the 4-4-2 diamond or like the CAM position is ever going to return, Dom?
I hope so, man. I hope that CAM position returns because it's beautiful if you can pull it off. Like if you can put guys like, for example, Dybala, that really I think shine in that position. If you can find a way to make that work, you can get really exciting football. By the way, Real Madrid, they basically like play this super unconventional formation. They've got two strikers. In fact, I think they play a 4-2-2-2-2 or something like that. Like um, in the end, so formations are not really, they're not for me super important. It's more about the approach and
Yeah,
how you how you yeah go about the game and your mentality and team chemistry. All that I think is way more important.
yeah. How many coaches in Serie A he takes over? Yeah, that's a good question. How many coaches in Serie A would you take over Mazzarri?
Me, I would take, honestly speaking, I'd take Inzaghi, I'd take Palladino, Thiago Motta, and that's it. I wouldn't even take Italiano over him. Italiano, I don't think is a good coach.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit overrated. Well,
Way overrated.
yeah, his football's very stale. I don't like watching Fiorentina play.
And I don't think I don't think it's I don't think it's a type of football that is it's very balanced. It's very like attacking minded and it's not
But it's not
balanced
even
and that's
like fun to watch. It's just like just keep the ball for the sake of keeping the ball and then get
yeah, I don't
exposed
like
with
it.
the back. What about our favorite terrorist, Massimiliano Allegri?
Um I would rather watch Serie D than a Juve game, honestly. Honestly, and not
Wow.
because it's Juve. Like put Allegri in a whatever team, put him in Barcelona, and I would still rather watch like Cosenza play or something. You know what I mean? Like no.
Yeah, I mean, according to ADL, he was very close to signing for Napoli at one point, wasn't he? After, I think, after Ancelotti.
Yeah, thank goodness that didn't happen. Honestly, it's not the type of style. I mean, there's clubs like he do really well. I think in Atletico Madrid and all that. You know, like there
Inter,
are.
we love terrorism.
Yeah, no, but there are clubs that are more
Yeah,
about the results. They're more about pragmatism. Napoli's never been like that, man. I mean, we're all about playing well for the sake of playing well. If we can get a trophy, great. But
Spurs,
um,
the
yeah,
Italian Spurs, with some
yeah,
trophies.
yeah. Pretty. I would say we're more like Arsenal.
Oh,
Um, Spurs is it's disrespectful. Come on.
okay. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, Dom, thank you very much for this. Hopefully, I didn't keep you longer. It's been actually longer than I thought it was going to be the stream, 1 hour, 8 minutes. But thank you very
It,
much. Please plug
it was
away.
very fun.
Yeah.
It was very fun. Thanks for having me. Guys, smash that like button if you haven't. Subscribe to your favorite uncle.
And yeah, I mean, go to Napoli Talk to find more about Dom. And yeah, he always makes. He's like me. He does post match reactions. Sometimes not much pre match, but mostly post match
No,
and transfer news and things like that. But he's definitely a really really good channel to check out. And yeah, we'll
thank
see
you.
who was correct in the predictions. Keep a lookout on the channel. See you on Sunday night, guys. Ciao ragazzi. Forza Inter.
Ciao.